So in this video, I want to talk to you about whether a PhD is actually shorter in a master's degree or not. And I'm going to answer no, generally it's not. And I'm going to talk to you about why that is the case. So if you don't know me, I am Professor de Massac. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people who help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So you might be thinking that if I do a master's degree, I can quickly get a doctorate after that, and it's going to be very, very quick to do that. But I'm going to say that that is generally not the case. This wasn't my experience, and really the sort of thing that expedites it is what you're going to do at the end of it and sort of what your career objectives are, which is just about everything. And there's just more leeway with, the career objectives that you have. So if you want a master's and you're going to quickly get out and get into the workforce, and then that's probably going to be the quickest way to get there. And, for me, it took me a little over a year to get my master's. It was a 2-year program, so I was able to do it fairly quickly. I was able to sort of expedite things. So I was able to get that, and that is pretty normal to do it between I would say a master's program, depending on sort of the problems you run into, anywhere from 1 to 4 years, but 4 is going to be really weird. I'm going to sort of suggest most master's programs be able to finish in 2 years. Now, professional master's programs, they're gearing towards getting you out and getting a job. So like an MBA or a master's in nursing or something like that. So they're going to be more along the lines of getting it done in a year. Then, a research master's is going to be definitely more along the lines of the 2-year thing. So you're going to have to do coursework, and then the coursework is going to take you about a year. And then after that, you have to do a research project, which is probably going to take you about a year as well. And so then you can go into your PhD after that. Lots of people actually expedite it. I've noticed in the United States, it's actually a lot more quicker, where people actually don't do a master's, although a lot of people do. But, it's a little bit more acceptable not to have a master's going into a doctorate or a PhD program in the United States. In many other places, so I'm Canadian, it wasn't really as common, and I think in the UK it's the same thing. It's not nearly as common, so you need a master's degree first before you get a doctorate. It's kind of like a stepping stone sort of thing. I don't know why that is the case, but I think largely, it depends on your training and what you're getting. So, if you want to expedite things, you don't necessarily need, and if you're thinking of going into academia anyways, you don't need a master's degree. You could just get right into it, although it's going to help out to get into programs. It's still going to look better if you have a master's degree, but if you have like a 4.0 GPA, perfect score in your GPA, and you have really high, GMAT or GRE scores and your standardized test scores, you're going to have a good chance of getting into a PhD program from your undergrad. So the reason why I'm wincing is it really depends on your maturity of whether you actually get in or not. So maturity being like your actual growth, personal growth maturity in terms of whether you get in. And that's what they're going to be looking at. Are you mature enough to actually do this program and do well in the community, in the academic community, in the college, they call it, like the sort of broader college. So, here's the problem with sort of expediting your PhD. And so you can actually do programs that might be able to expedite it. So I think Wharton, University of Pennsylvania has something like this. I've seen people coming out of Stanford doing this, where what they do is basically like the master's program. It's a coursework component of a PhD. And then they do a short dissertation at the end of it, and they get through. So within a year or two, I think that's pretty normal at a lot of institutions anyways, where you do have coursework at the beginning. So in the PhD program that I'm affiliated with and that I'm part of at the institution I'm part of, it's 2 years of coursework where it's really intensive, actually. It's really, really intensive. And then you do your thesis that will probably take you anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 years to actually get this thing done, get it done. Here's the problem with doing that, sort of expediting your PhD. You can't expedite it. You could probably get out in 3 years if you really wanted to. I don't think that would be unmanageable. But here's the problem is that if you're going into the academic job market and you want to actually get a real job as a professor, as a researcher, or, some sort of research institute, it's just going to be unlikely with 3 years under your belt because you just don't have the publications and you're not going to have the research to be done to actually get a good job. So to go into industry, 3 years, yeah, it's totally normal. That would be acceptable. In fact, I would say that would probably be the goal that you should be aiming at. 3 to 4 years or something along those lines if you want to go into industry. But you probably shouldn't do a PhD anyways if you want to go into industry. I just don't think that's a good course of action for your life because it's not geared for that, and it's just going to be kind of, it's not going to jive that well. So I would recommend for you to go into either, an MBA or something like that, or a professional doctorate of some sorts, like a DBA, would be much more better sort of course. To do would be quicker, more suitable, and it's going to be more expensive, but it's more suitable. You get out, and the sort of expectation is that you do that anyways. But a PhD program, most of them are going to be expecting you to go into academia and to do research, and to do that you need publications, and those publications should take a long time. So even if you're amazingly quick and you're able to get a paper done and completed in your first year, it's still getting it through the review process, even at the fastest journals out there. You're looking at 4 to 5 years to getting it done anyways, even if you're amazing, to get out, and you need those publications to actually get any viable jobs, or well on the way, demonstrated sort of really good research that you're working on to actually get a job that's out there. That was my experience. So it took a lot longer than I ever expected. I thought my PhD was going to be 4 years because I was able to do my master's very quickly, and you work hard, dedicated, all that kind of stuff. But then it ended up taking me 5 to finish it. Then I didn't get a job, so then I was around for like 7 years of kicking around, which was forever. And it was like not something I'd want to do again. So, I just want you to be well aware of that. So yeah, you can probably speed it up with a master's, but it's tricky, and I wouldn't recommend it, because if you want to get a job at the end of it, you're just going to have to put in that work and that time, and it just takes forever. Trust me, I'm not bragging. I'm pretty talented. And it just takes forever to get research done, and it is just a slog. So just be well aware of that. So with that, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.